The In This League Podcast Network. In this ring, in this corner, Joe Pisapia. This corner, Tim Heaney. Gentlemen, let's go.
Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? It's me, Joey P, Joe Pisapia, and welcome to In This Ring, the greatest wrestling podcast in the history of the universe. It's me. It's Tim Heaney, and we are just days away from Money in the Bank. But that's not all, kids. We've also got NXT TakeOver previews, the go-home show from that. We've got New Japan stuff, huge title changes, unbelievable stuff happening there, plus some Ring of Honor news, plus our top 5. Everybody loves a list, right? I know I love a list. Tim, do you love a list?
Yeah, they're all right.
All right, they're all right. That's good. That's as better as we're going to get. We're going to do our top 5 things that we want to see happen at Money in the Bank this Sunday. And I'm just going to tease it right now, right at the top. Monday, we're going to have a show recapping Money in the Bank. We always try to do the post-pay-per-view special, because I don't know if you know this, Tim, but it's co-branded, the pay-per-views. Did you know that? The pay-per-views are co-branded?
That's news to me. I had no idea. No alerts or anything. You know,
they didn't really publicize that fact very much. They don't like to put it out there, but it did change. After WrestleMania, it did change.
We have our sources. On this.
I've been told that they are now co-branded, but we're going to try to get a special guest on, and that's going to be a good time there. We always like to get one of our pals in the fantasy sports or other industries to talk wrestling with us. We're big fans who we know will be watching, so keep an eye and an ear out for that on Monday. But before we get to all the WWE stuff, let's start with what, which was huge news, huge stuff going on there. Let's start with New Japan, 4 title changes, and let's start at the top of the card because
oh my God,
Kenny Omega versus Okada. Go ahead. I'm going to turn you loose on all this because I know you're just like, can we push it? We need more time. I want to push it another day. I need more time for all these things. So here we go.
It was a crazy weekend.
It was a crazy weekend of wrestling and sports stuff and other things, but. All right, give me your Dave Meltzer best review of Omega Okada.
Well, he gave it 7 stars. I don't know if you saw that.
I didn't see that. I didn't know you could get 7 stars. I thought it was only 5 on his scale. So that's
his scale. I mean, keeps changing with these matches. But I think it's the best feud in decades. I think that this match did it justice. I mean, 2 out of 3 falls, like no time limit. We got all the Okada Omega we can handle, maybe more. They culminated in the perfect story of everything with Kenny Omega's quest for the title, and of course his face turn in the interim, basically, because you're not rooting against Kenny Omega at this point unless you have no heart, even against Okada, which is the pure baby face there. But unsurprisingly, I think it went over an hour. I'm pretty sure. I forgot the exact time on it, but they did the Okada early fall and then Omega the 2 falls after that. And I putting it into words, I don't think can do it justice. I don't think words can do that match justice for the most part. But these two just have amazing chemistry in the ring, and they told a great story about the matches. Landing on each other's necks and stuff like that, and Omega trying for the one-wing angel for almost the entire match because it was one move Okada couldn't kick out of, or it's just it was nice to see. To give a little credit to Okada as well, because I don't know if he's getting a rematch with this, but incredible run in his own right. And Omega at the end with Kota Ibushi and the Young Bucks, they're basically now called the Golden Elite, which is pretty cool. Not Ibushi and Bullet Club, but they're all kind of their own little foursome, I guess. The Golden Elite.
I just love if you Google Okada and you go to images, like the third image in is him with the giant fucking sword. Like it's freaking huge. Like it's like this giant oversized dagger straight out of some sort of, it's out of some sort of Final Fantasy kind of thing. Like it's just awesome. I love it. It's my favorite picture of Okada.
I mean, he was just a beast of a champion. I mean, they compare comparison of Brock Lesnar's defenses to Okada's defense. I think Okada might have had similar amount of defenses over a couple of years, but of course, there's no questioning what he's done with those style defenses compared to Brock Lesnar. And I'm almost sad to see the feud end because it was so good. But happy for Omega. The guy deserves it. I think he's the best in the world right now. Best overall package of wrestling in the world right now. So looking forward to.
I think he's the most unique too. I think his style is very unique in every way. I mean, when you're talking in-ring style, I think he's a unique hybrid in the ring. I think outside of the ring with the gimmick and certain things that he does in promos, I think is very unique. And that's what makes him a good watch, because he's not like everybody else. And people, it's kind of similar to like what I was just trying to think of somebody else. I mean, The Rock was very unique. Nobody was what The Rock was, and the energy he had in the ring, and he had his own thing. And I think that's when a superstar transcends the business, it's not because he reminds you of anybody else. And I think that's something that gets lost when we're trying to, factory guys out. It's remember like the old WCW power plant where all these jabronis all basically look the same, and they were all pumping out these, they were all pumping out these big-bodied, mooks who none of them could really talk, and they were athletic, but they really weren't anything special, and they just kind of it's like a gloss over it. And Kenny is unique, and obviously this is a match you got to watch. I haven't gotten a chance to watch it yet, unfortunately.
God. Yeah.
I'm going to make sure that at some point now that school is ending for my children, I get caught up on this one, because also in this, Jericho won the title over Naito, and Naito, look, to me, this was shocking because I didn't think Jericho would hold a belt elsewhere, because there's a certain commitment level. Now, we talked about the reason why Jericho came back was to sell tickets in San Francisco, and then I heard another discussion about how Jericho said he would never wrestle a match, and you said, well, maybe he'll just make an appearance and kind of, squash what's going on there in his match, in Naito's match. But I don't know, man. Like, this was kind of surprising to me that he went this route. I don't know if this is his Chris Jericho doing what Chris Jericho, wants to do at all times kind of thing, or if this is really just him moving on from WWE. I don't know. What's your take on this?
I don't know. I think I might foresee a rematch here, but I mean, Naito's Naito went for the big belt and lost, and then now he's lost this one. I mean, kind of in limbo with what they're doing with him right now. I mean, I'm not sure what the future's going to hold for this title picture, because, like you said, Jericho being, defending it in Japan is, that they probably have to take a few months out of that. And, as we'll talk about in a little bit, I'm not sure if he's going to be at the July special that's over in America. So, I don't know. I was surprised that he won, but, I love the way he did it. He's brought the hardcore American style over, not necessarily strong style, but, big heel style, I guess, so to speak. And he does it really well. And, it helps him adjust to the little more limitations his wrestling ability might have now. But, of course, he's still great at everything. His panache is always there. His flair for the dramatic, the coming out in the Clockwork Orange style costume was cool. It's an interesting picture. Jericho defending against next. I mean, it really might just be, like you said, who he wants to work with next. If he and Naito run it back, I would love to see that again, because Naito's always entertaining. But yeah, it's kind of up in the air, this one, more than most of these other title pictures.
You also had Ospreay, Takahashi. Ospreay's always fun to watch, and Takahashi's terrific too. I mean, these guys are tremendous athletes. I mean, Ospreay borders on the line sometimes of unsafe, in my opinion.
Yeah.
More for himself than anybody he works with, but still, what he's able to do in the ring and his body control, much like Ricochet. And if you ever watch any of those matches, which are, if you haven't, kids, run over to the YouTube and watch Ricochet and Ospreay. It's some great work on those programs. But for this one, Takahashi ends up winning the junior heavyweight belt, which I don't think is very surprising. I think it's good to have Ospreay chase a little bit if they're going to do that.
Yeah, Takahashi's gotten a huge push lately. He won the Best of Super Juniors tournament. That cool little trophy that he's carrying around. But yeah, I mean, Ospreay, you talk about how, a little bit more vicious style for his own right. They played up how his neck has kind of been hurt after that.
That was landing. A tough bump, man. He took on the side of that on the apron, man. Oh, that was not pretty. He's lucky he's alive after that. I got to be honest with you.
No, absolutely. And, they played up the whole tape being on the neck, and Takahashi took it off during the match, and, basically saying it was a target. And, they write that into his stories, which is always, appropriate in these kind of cases if you can play it off right. But, Takahashi, no Daryl, the cat to be found, which is always sad. I think he got rid of him a while ago, but, they still see the fans holding him in the ring. Always a kitschy little thing there, but, at least Los Ingobernables got one decent win on the night. And Takahashi's always a good watch. He always has a 4-star match or above in big events like this. I think he had a 5-star match with Bone Soldier from the Bullet Club a while back. But yeah, just a nice little solid, higher up card match for sure, because they always deliver these two.
Yeah, and when I watch guys like Ospreay too, I think that, and this is a Jim Cornette discussion too. I know he talks about this a lot. I mean, he's on the extreme end of it, but I kind of agree with him to a certain extent. If you want to have a long career, you have to figure out what kind of bumps you're going to take, how you're going to take them, and realize that you don't always have to do that to get a rise out of everybody, because what you're doing is you're shortening what could be a very brilliant career. And that's something that Ospreay's really got to think about here. As athletic as he is, as daredevil as he is, and some incredible body control that he has, there comes a certain point there where you want to have a nice long career in this business, and putting yourself at risk all the time the way he does in certain things is something just to think about a little bit. It's just it's because you don't want to see a talent like that not in the ring.
Right. I mean, I hate to compare anybody to the big guys, but you look at the way Ospreay takes a bump, and you look at the way like Okada and Omega take bumps. You can tell like they're so more protective of themselves. They know what they're doing. I mean, Ospreay, God bless, like you said, he goes violently at things, but sometimes he does leave himself a bit too exposed with that stuff. So I'm with you. I want to, he's still very young, so you want to see him kind of evolve in his technique a little bit more. Not that I'm one to critique it, because I'm not going to be the best of it, but you could tell visually that there is a little bit of a difference there with him and other people.
All right, Young Bucks too. Last of the 4 title changes. Young Bucks also win heavyweight tag champions versus Evil and Sonata. This is something I was thinking about the other day, because I was reading a thread of people talking about which guys would work in the main company and all that stuff, and the big company. And I don't think the Young Bucks would ever work there. I don't think they should ever go. I don't think it'll ever in a million years work for them. I just don't think they're cut out for it. I think they're the exact kind of act that goes there at a certain point, and they probably will, just because money is money, and at some point things will align and it'll make sense for them fiscally to go, and it'll make sense for WWE to make the investment. And it'll be at a time where it's not worth it for either of them, and it's going to be a bad scene. But I just don't think they're the type of act that will ever get over with that main WWE Universe crowd. Not the us per se, but that mainstream crowd. I just don't see them ever doing that.
Someone had a tweet recently that put it well. The Yankees don't have to have every good player. And not every good player has to go to the Yankees.
And it's good for wrestling. I always say when WWE was at its best, it was always when WCW was good, and when and when they were fighting, and when they were forced to be creative. And everyone's always better when there's competition. Coke needs Pepsi. Everybody needs somebody.
Right.
And I think the minute Kenny Omega leaves, and he will leave. I don't think there's any ifs, ands, or buts about it. Kenny Omega will leave, and he's not leaving for NXT. He goes straight to the main roster. He goes straight into the main stuff.
Right.
When he leaves, that's going to be fascinating to see how they fill that void. If it's another castaway from WWE who has like Cody Rhodes has had a great renaissance here with his career, and one could argue is better suited for this style of what he's doing than the WWE style at this point in his life. But I don't know where that void is going to be filled, but I don't want to see Ring of Honor, New Japan kind of stuff fall to the wayside when Kenny leaves. And that's my only concern to a certain extent, is how they fill that void, because let's face it, he is the North American star in international wrestling world.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously the ability to promote himself is, like we said, like unlike most other people in the main event scene in wrestling. And it's hard to even fathom who could take that spot right now. Someone will probably emerge over the next year and kind of say, all right, I'm the next guy. Because, Omega kind of did that himself. He was always kind of like that nice technical wrestler type, and the clear personality got over, and then the Bullet Club stuff happened when they kicked Styles out. So, we'll get there to name a replacement, but yeah, it's gonna be more of a couple of years type of thing to kind of develop that next guy.
And it could be somebody who stalled out in NXT, who had a lot of potential. Right. It could be somebody like that. It's I know it's not gonna be. It's not gonna be Bobby Lashley. That's who it's not gonna be. I can tell you that. That's one. That's one. I can take him off there. That's one. I get 2 more, and I'm gonna use them. Because I'm going to use them. That's what I do. I'm using them. All right, let's talk a little bit, too, about the fallout. The G1 special in San Francisco, July 7th. That's right around the corner. It's less than a month away. Yeah. So we got the championship match, Omega versus Cody. Thoughts on fun. That? That should be a good time, right? I mean, that's going to be one to watch for sure.
Well, I mean, I don't know if Cody's going to be that next guy with Omega, because I love Cody, but I don't see him on the in-ring level of Omega. But
no, he's not. But Cody's a good foil for that next.
Oh, absolutely. Guy. Oh, absolutely. He plays the jerk bad guy ridiculously well, wearing the ring around and stuff like that. And people are forcing Bullet Club fans to kiss it. It's good stuff. And, obviously having Brandy Rhodes next to you is always good heel fodder, to, be like the arrogant guy there. So, yeah, that should be a good one. I hope Cody doesn't win. Although a quick change would be a good way to kind of play off the Bullet Club leadership rivalry for a bit longer. So that could be interesting. We'll see.
And then you've got Okada and Ospreay taking on Naito and Bushi.
Yeah.
You've got U.S. Championship Jay White, who I'm a fan. I like the Jay White. I think he's really reinvented himself against Juice Robinson. And how do you not love a name like Juice Robinson?
Speaking of ex-NXT guys, CJ Parker right there.
Yep.
Doing pretty well for himself in Japan. He's had some nice little technical matches there. So
and people forget Kenny Omega had a cup of coffee with the big company too. And you just sometimes guys aren't ready at certain times, and I think that's where it's probably somebody we're not even ever thinking of who's probably gonna be the next big international wrestling star when Omega leaves. And he's going again. I keep telling everybody it's gonna happen. He's gonna leave at some point. It's just the natural order of things. And we'll see. There's a 50% chance that he's absolutely brilliant, and when he comes over and he just gets over on his wrestling ability alone with the big company, or it stalls out because he is not one of theirs, and sometimes they just don't know how to use the person who's not one of theirs. They just don't know what to do with themselves. It's like Chris Farley, in Tommy Boy, and he's like, and I get this little pet, and I love him, and I squish him, and oh God.
Let me tell you why I suck as a salesman. Let's say I go into some guy's office. Let's say he's even remotely interested in buying something. Well, then I get all excited. I'm like, Jojo, the idiot circus boy with a pretty new pet. The pet is my possible sale. Oh, my pretty little pet. I love you. So I stroke it, and I pet it, and I massage it. Yeah, I love it. I love my little naughty pet. You're naughty. And then I take my naughty pet and I go. Oh! I killed it! I killed my sale. That's when I blow it.
That's exactly what it is. It's him with the dinner roll sitting at the table. That's WWE with talent that's not from their birth. I should say.
With Tommy so far.
Yeah, well, I mean, every now and then it works, but most of the time they just squish the dinner roll. Yeah. All right. Then also you got the Young Bucks rematch too, which I would imagine they retain. I imagine Jay White retains, and I imagine Omega. I don't see a whole lot of change in title on this card. I just don't. And I think the reason for that is because in San Fran and the American audience, you want to showcase these stars in America and these guys, and I think that's what's going to happen. You want to get these guys who are your lead guys over, and you get them over by winning, not by losing.
Yeah, there'll probably be some like undercard type of changes, flip-flopping of titles, but yeah, I don't think these main ones that we know about so far are going to be anything up for grabs. All
right, so we're going to put this away for now, but one more note. It is a big one. Ring of Honor says they're going to be doing an MSG show in 2019. I know I will be there, and I know Tim will be there. It's going to be our mandate. You and I are going to go out, and we're going to have a mandate. And what we'll do is we'll do like some sort of Facebook Live thing, or we'll do something, after there, all of it, whenever it happens, because we live in this New York area, so we will be there if and when that does come off. We shall see. But let's start it for all the people who could care less about New Japan who do listen to us. Thank you for your patience. And honestly, you should be watching
Watch New Japan.
Awesome. It's freaking awesome. You should be watching it. The wrestling is off the hook. And the performance level, too, of the overall package is very, very good. And I only came to this party about 2 years ago, so I haven't been the entire time, but about – I'll say a year and a half, 2 years ago is when I really started to get into it. I just haven't had a chance, unfortunately, to watch this recent one because, life happens and the new book came out. By the way, new fantasy football black book is out. If you're playing fantasy football, go check it out on Amazon. Tim Heaney did the editing for it this year. It's a high quality piece of work there. So go out. It is. But now that the book is over, I have a lot more time. And as I told you, my reward to myself was watching Cobra Kai on YouTube Red. And I binged it this week, and it was freaking amazeballs. If you haven't seen the Cobra Kai, go watch it. Right, that's your weekend right now. Wrestling and Cobra Kai. I can't think of a better way to spend your weekend. I described it to you as Eastbound and Down meets The Karate Kid. It's everything you want it to be. It hits every single note the right way. It's somewhere between hilarious, cheesy, whatever, like, 80s member berries plus really cool spin on all of that. Constantly makes fun of itself, constantly also is very moving at times as well. And a great job, I'm telling you, by everybody who put it together. It's exactly what it should be. It's one of the most fun, guilty pleasure things you'll ever watch. And I guarantee you, if you don't like it, I feel like you have just no sensibility for fun. Like, it's just fun.
I mean, you sold me, so yeah. I think it's my list.
It's so good, dude. I mean, you will watch. I know you will watch it in a day and probably in a day or two.
Give me the second day because we're adults and stuff.
Probably the second day only because we're adults. If we were in college, you would have it in the day. That's how, because you're gonna be like, oh, dude, and then you're gonna want to watch the next one.
Dude.
Pretty much every episode is gonna end in oh, dude. All right, let's start our preview Ganza, and let's start with TakeOver. I'm pissed already because all the TakeOver commercials, none of them have Velveteen Dream and Ricochet in it, and I don't know what the hell's going on. Why aren't they promoting this as the match? Right? I mean, you've seen it for the last 2 weeks. Even my kids, my 8-year-old and my 6-year-old daughters turned to me and said, where the hell is the Ricochet match on this promo? And I said, I don't know. I can't tell you. It's freaking stupid. That's the match everybody wants to see. God bless Oney Lorcan and all, but who cares? I want to see Ricochet.
It's going to be the best match on the card, too. I mean, there's no belts up for grabs, but that just tells you how crazy it's going to be.
But that's the whole point. It's like, who cares about
I know.
belts?
I know. You're right. I mean, Gargano, we'll get to that later, but hopefully Ricochet's healthy enough, which he seems to be right now, because he did get injured during that NXT Paris house show. Kind of flipped onto the concrete or the padding or whatever, because that's Ricochet. He'll do that.
Right. Well, he's like Osprey in that sense. Like, at a certain point, you got to cut back on it and understand you do it once in a while on a huge pay-per-view. You do that stuff in the Big Four because you're good enough that you don't need to do it all the time. I know that's how you got here, and I know that's your identity. But for the love of God, let's have a 20-year career, not a 10-year career. That's
I love how it was like a grainy video too, like it was like this Zapruder film or something.
It's always like that. It's always part of like any wrestling injury on a house show. The video always has to be freaking like it was shot in 1967. It's just crazy.
But Triple H said he should be okay on their conference call. I think it was a couple days ago. So he's like, yeah, we're just gonna let him rest for a bit because he's a young idiot basically. So
well, that's fine. Well, and look, they better not try to change him too much. But again, this that promo was just so good. I can't. I'm excited about it. I'm trying to think of like how I want the end of this match to go because I don't want Velveteen to keep losing.
Right.
I kind of feel like he should win. Now, how they decide to do that, that's fine. But I feel like Velveteen should get over on this one. Ricochet's the new guy. Ricochet doesn't need the victory. He's awesome no matter what. But I think for the sake of maintaining the I'm trying to put this in the right way.
The integrity of the Dream character.
The integrity.
Yeah.
I'll also say the strength of that character.
Right.
More to it.
Yeah.
Because it's a strong character, and if you keep having him lose, even if he's losing to Aleister Black, even if he's losing to guys who are, in the top notch of things, it doesn't matter. At a certain point, you got to get some more W's, and I think he needs a W here. Do you agree?
I agree with you. I think Dream does need to win more. I mean, do they want to rely solely on the character getting over on its own right? I can see Ricochet fighting Adam Cole next for the North Americans. So, I mean, that's a route I can see going with this if they have him win. But I'm with you. I prefer Dream to win because he needs that signature victory, and they can run this back, and they can delay Adam Cole defending against Ricochet for a while. So,
I'll tell you what, it's funny that Adam Cole's one of those guys that could go on and fill the void of an Omega. I think.
Yeah, if he wants to go back, but I don't know. He's gonna make a name for himself here, I think. So.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, would I wonder if that if Adam Cole doesn't get what he's hoping to get, if all of a sudden he becomes the guy who's underappreciated. Right. And all of a sudden, that's a guy, that's a name that could go back there and fill the shoes, and maybe that's the whole thing. It's like, they're returning, to glory kind of thing. Yeah. Undisputed. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry. I want one more thing about the Dream thing. The back and forth interviews they did with the two of them. When they said the Dream was cut from Tough Enough, he's like, the Dream doesn't remember that. Did you see that part? Oh, it was so. It just like
Yeah,
I love how he's just in his character like that.
he is. He's
incredible.
He's great.
Yeah.
I'm such a big fan, and
Mhm.
I want him on the main roster so bad because they need more intriguing characters. Plus, I'm
Right.
a big Prince fan, so right
Of
off the
course.
bat, I'm a big mark for anything like that. All right,
Yeah.
Undisputed Era versus Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. I mean, Undisputed Era retains here. I don't
I
see
hope
any
so.
reason why they wouldn't. That's kind of. Then we got the Nikki Cross Shayna Baszler match. Now, I think Nikki's going to come away with the W here.
Really?
I think I do, and I think it's going to help her, and I think it's going to help Shayna as well because they've made her out to be this beast or whatever. And if Nikki can beat her, they've all of a sudden elevated both of them, and all of a sudden I think this feud gets a lot more heat. I think it dies with Shayna wins, and I think if Nikki Cross wins, they can really push this program for practically into the summer, through the summer.
I love the program. I love the idea of these two getting at it, and obviously Nikki shaking Shayna basically because Shayna, has been this bully running over, but Nikki comes over and now she's like, scared, which is always it's good retribution for the character development of that sort of thing.
They've left her on an island without the rest of her peeps too. You know?
Yeah. I still think Shayna wins though. I wonder if Nikki's gonna actually go up after this. Because like you said, if Shayna wins, it kind of does deflate everything. I don't see a rematch coming back from that unless Nikki just really creeps the hell out of her and forces a second one. But yeah, it depends on where they want to go with Nikki from here, I think, for me. If they want to bring her up, I think you have to have her lose. But
yeah, it's
right.
funny. See, I think if they want to bring her up, you have to have her win and work a program with the belt because I think they want to see how people carry themselves in those kind of scenarios.
Maybe.
And with somebody like Shayna, that's a real you could absolutely work that into SummerSlam with a 2 out of 3. I mean, if they have look at how successful the Gargano and Ciampa series has been, and NXT is very good at working the long programs. They could work this back and forth where Nikki wins this time, and then Shayna wins it, and then Nikki loses the rematch or something like that. SummerSlam, and then you bring her up after.
I don't think Nikki's a long-term plan for this, like to really conquer Shayna as the hero. I don't know. I think they're still kind of saving that for Kyrie again or somebody else. I'm going to go with Shayna winning here, but it's like 60-40, I think.
By the time you get to SummerSlam, you can get Kyrie involved in it.
Right.
And you could turn it into a 3-way dance, which would be,
maybe. Oh, that'd be a great match.
That would be fun. Well, that's what I mean. You can't do that if you bury Nikki here. I think you are.
It wouldn't be a burial. I think you could have her lose with credit, I think.
All right. That's fair.
Shayna.
All right. Aleister Black against the beast of Lars Sullivan. Look, Aleister always has great matches. I mean, this should be a fun one because a different kind of guy that he's been working with lately. He's used to a little bit more of the less power, more athletic kind of opponent. Mm-hmm. So this should be a fun one to watch how they work. I mean, I'm looking forward to that just to see how they work together.
Well, I mean, we talked about how, like the Seth Rollins types love to work with the bigger guys, like the Finn Balor types.
Right,
it does
better base guys, right. Mm-hmm.
It lets them show off all their athletics. And, yeah, I mean, Lars is a very interesting project to me. I think he's underrated on the mic. I think he can definitely talk more than a lot of most big dudes like him. And he's got good skill in the ring. He's got a unique look to him. He's got that, the giant look. You don't necessarily see a polished look out of him like some other big guys, but he's just, he's an imposing figure. I don't think they should come close to changing the title yet here. Maybe you have Lars dominate and have Black just kind of have a run at 2 minutes at the end and win. I'm almost upset they threw these two together so quickly because, this could have been like Lars could have been the one to take it from Black eventually and have him move on. But yeah, Black. I hope Black wins. I don't foresee a short reign for him.
No, it's definitely Aleister Black winning for sure. And then you got Gargano Ciampa in the street fight, which I don't want to say they're gilding the lily here because I just feel like sometimes it's good to get out and leave wanting a little bit more than to drive something to death. And I know it's working. I know it's worked. I know it's really been a fantastic program for the two of these guys. But I want it to be done after this. I really do. I just think it's in their best interest, both of them. Now, the question is, what do you do with them afterwards? Because this is the problem with overworking a program between two guys. Because at the end, you get burnt out on both of them, and then you don't know how to spawn them into the next thing. So how would you spawn either of these guys into the next thing?
Man, Gargano almost has nowhere else to go but up 205 or main right now. He's kind of done everything in NXT that you kind of wanted from him. The tag title quest they had, and the run at the title he almost got was another amazing match with Almas. But yeah, I think Ciampa has to go over here. kind of get a little bit more of that momentum back, and they could play up the whole Candice being absent stuff and have Gargano at least take a break maybe or something after this, because I think he needs it. The break was obviously abbreviated when they kind of played it that he returned, from the unsanctioned match he got back in. I think Ciampa needs to get his win back, and he might be the next challenger for Aleister Black. That would be pretty sweet.
Yeah, you know what? That would be a fun spawn off there. Right now, too, we're still waiting for Eric Young and everybody to make their debut with Sanity. Still hasn't happened yet. We'll see if it happens at the pay-per-view, but I feel like they're searching a little bit to try to pair now. I think that's why you're seeing Ciampa and Gargano again. I think that's why you're seeing some of the things you're seeing now, because I don't want to say they're low on talent, but I think they're not sure what to do right now.
They're very top heavy.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's a good way.
There's still a lot of developmental working in and the men especially are kind of like, well, EC3 is kind of finding his own way with things.
I think they're waiting for him to figure it out, and I don't know if he has yet, and I don't know who the guy is to put him with to have him figure it out.
Yeah, well, I mean, just beat Cassius Ohno last night on the Go Home show. I think that's kind of just more of a placeholder thing. He'll probably make an appearance at TakeOver in the taped episode or something like that. But yeah, I mean, they're almost too loaded at the top.
Yeah,
for a 1 hour weekly show.
Yeah. Well, you know what that means. Start splitting guys up and make some tag teams.
Or 2 hour NXT. 2 hour
NXT. No, God. And now the pay-per-views are all 12 hours long. I know. Oh, I know I don't want to go back over this, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to drive back. It's like I pulled over, I ran it over, and now I'm going to back over it again. This whole thing where the pay-per-views are all like 4 or 5 hours long now. It's just, it's crazy. You're killing the audience. The lesson from WrestleMania is you can put all the great matches at the end you want. When the audience and the crowd is burned out, it's hard. I mean, it's great you're giving us our money's worth, but you are not. I'd rather have the best 3-hour product than the stretched out 4.5, 5 hour product. It's just, it's no good. It kills the crowd, and the crowd is a big part of it, and it's just bleh. All right. On that note, when we come back, we'll talk about Bobby Lashley. Oh, that's two.
Oh, great.
I did too. No, but we're going to talk about all of the Money in the Bank. We're going to preview it, plus our top 5 things that Tim and I want to see result-wise in Money in the Bank. You're listening to In This Ring. Tim and Joe will be right back right after this.
I will drive nothing but Mercedes or Rolls Royce. I will go nowhere. On a commercial airliner, I will ride in nothing but limousine, and I will make love to nothing but
In This Ring.
All right. It's time to cash some Money in the Bank checks, baby. Cha-ching. We are there, and let's go through the card real fast. We'll hammer through and just go through. And there's no better place. There's no better place to start than Bobby Lashley, who I guess is done with the obstacle course and that whole.
Finally.
Oh God, the obstacle course bit. I mean, he's just. I mean, here's how you save Bobby Lashley. Okay, here's how you say you make him just a tool. Like you make him a tool who doesn't get anything. Who doesn't get any jokes or doesn't like whatever it is. And it's almost like the B team in a way. If you just go and just embrace the stupid,
right.
I think you might be able to make it work, but they never will. And he won't be able to pull that off. Sami Zayn's going to lose to Bobby Lashley, and it's going to be annoying. And I don't know what else to say about that. And I want this to be over, because if Sami Zayn can't make you interesting, then there's no hope for you.
No. I'm going to save my thoughts on this for later.
Ooh.
I'll let you know.
Yes. All right. Let's say Bludgeon Brothers versus Anderson and Gallows for the SmackDown Tag Team titles.
It's on the pre-show.
It's on the pre-show with good reason, because there's been no real build for it, Tim.
I know.
They haven't supported it, so it's got nothing.
You're right.
My prediction for this is some sort of DQ situation, and this continuing, so they build a program between the two of them, because there hasn't been, and if you really want to try to get the Good Brothers over a little bit more, you need to continue this. You can't have either of them lose. Mm-hmm. So I think a DQ is the way to go here with this one. And Bludgeon Brothers will retain, but it's got to be a situation where Anderson and Gallows don't look like they get squashed by these guys.
Or maybe this is the debut of Sanity. maybe they run in.
Maybe. And that's a terrible. I mean, Sandy should be on Raw, not SmackDown. The whole.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, it's just right now. It's just obvious that SmackDown has too much talent, especially in the tag team division, and Raw is woefully inept in the tag team division. So
yeah, I will say the one build to this match has been on social media because, of course, why would you actually air things to build a rivalry, or something like that.
Well, I don't mind people. I don't mind them airing things on the social media networks because the WWE succeeds where many other sports organizations fail in terms of social media. Their social is outstanding,
but they don't always tie everything back into the main product. They use it as a different avenue, which I get, widening your audience and stuff.
Fair.
But you got to combine the narratives at some point. It was like, I think it was something about Luke Harper making a joke about Carl Anderson's hot Asian wife, and then Carl Anderson's like, no, she won't be there, but she'll be ringside when we win the titles or something like that. It was kind of, tongue in cheek, whatever, goofy, but
yeah, who doesn't like a hot Asian wife? I mean, come on,
most people do. So.
I mean, what? There's nothing. That statement is always a winner.
Yeah,
like that's it. Or maybe the only one better is hot Asian girlfriend. That's probably the only one that's better.
No commitment. Yeah,
right. Well, less,
less, whatever.
All right, Roman Reigns versus Jinder Mahal.
Speaking of no commitment.
He will punch you. He will spear you. He will punch you. Leave that! Roman Reigns, the guy who is not that bad. Roman Reigns, the guy whose tattoos are rad.
Oh, that was terrific. Speaking of, so Roman this past week, I would say the reception for him was not as negative. Would you agree with that? I was listening specifically for the reception he would get, and I knew Singh was going to be the guy he was going to fight, quote unquote. I mean, everyone could see that coming a mile away. There's no way they were going to actually fight. I did like the whole, the great, and then he didn't say Kali, he said Samir Singh.
Yeah, that's perfect.
But for this one, Roman's going to win. We know that. The question is, can this match? I guess because expectations are low, can this match actually exceed expectations? I say yes.
I think so.
I'm being cautiously optimistic here.
Is Roman enough to kind of drag Jinder to a nice match? I think it could be at this point. I mean, they're very similar style guys, so Roman a little bit more speed, of course, with the power style of everything. So maybe it could be like a nice surprise Haas fight if everything works right. It could just be like some giant power moves that we didn't expect from Jinder, but. I'm going to give it a chance. I like both these guys, in their own universes. I just, it was kind of a slap together match because neither has much going on, and Roman has to kind of bide his time before his next title opportunity. So, yeah, I'll give it a shot. I'm not gonna crap on it immediately, but I want to see some good power fighting from these two and just have a nice little have some nice surprise moments there.
This is how you rebuild Roman. You rebuild Roman by having good matches in the non-main event area,
right?
And have everybody who are Roman Reigns out get back in it. Right. I think that's the thing. Everyone who is Roman Reigns out needs a break, and this is how you do it. Let him have a good match in the undercard area, not in the main event necessarily, and just take a breath. Everyone needs a break. We need a break. Okay, we were on a break. Daniel Bryan versus Big Cass. I've liked all the Big Cass promos up until this week. I did not like the whole thing with the "you're too short to ride this ride" because I think it was just done poorly. They should have done this thing where they put still photos or Photoshop photos of Daniel Bryan in places where he wasn't allowed to go on the Titantron. That would have been funny. Just having the sign, it was almost like they cheaped out or something, or, I just didn't like it. He could have come out there and said, he should have started a GoFundMe page or something like that, or take Daniel Bryan to the amusement park, or let me ride this ride.
Right.
Or, they could have done a lot of fun things.
Right.
that let him ride. Let him ride.
Oh my God.
That would have been funny, right? Now, if he comes out and does that promo and he shows sad Daniel Bryan pictures of him not being able to get on the roller coaster or not being able, that would have been funny.
Yeah.
But the way they did it, it was just kind of meh. And I think
it was awkward.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing now. Will Daniel Bryan put over Big Cass? I say no. What do you say?
He almost has to.
I know he has to, and I feel
Cass
that's
has
why
to have a win here, man. I mean, it was supposed to happen the last one, but I was okay with the last one with Daniel Bryan winning. But I think Cass needs this win. I'm gonna go with him here.
I'm gonna go with another DQ.
Okay.
I think it's
more smudge finishes.
Yeah, it's going to be I think the first part of this pay-per-view is going to be very unfulfilling in terms of closure with anything.
Well, if this is all the same part, we'll see.
Well, Bobby Lashley's in the first third of it anyway, so there you go. So there's my 3.
Maybe, hopefully he is, but
there's my 3. I've used them all. All right.
I don't know. I was trying to say something. Yeah, I guess that's how mad I am right now on Big Cass. He's kind of faded back a little bit with these promos in recent weeks, but I don't know if it's necessarily his fault. I'll say that. So.
All right, fair enough. Okay, let's get to Intercontinental Championship, Seth Rollins versus Elias. This program's been good.
Yeah.
They haven't had a lot of time to build it. They've built it over basically 2 weeks, and it's worked. And Elias is a good example for everybody out there, too, of how you just let a guy alone, let him be his thing, build him slow, don't ram him down your throats, and he'll get over if he's good enough to get over. And I think Elias is over right now. And I also think Elias is going to win this championship from Seth Rollins because it's time for Seth Rollins to go fight with the big boys. You need him at the top of the card. You need him at SummerSlam to take that belt off Brock Lesnar. It's what the fans will embrace. There's nobody who's not going to embrace Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar. I will actually be excited to watch it. I will be excited when Seth Rollins takes that championship off of him, and you could turn Roman heel immediately if he comes out and congratulates him, and then just is jealous of Seth Rollins. It's great. It's a perfect way to go. And then you bring Dean right back into the mix as like the weird in between guy, trying to get everybody back together. It would be great.
I'm with you. Elias should win here. I think he's earned it. I mean, he's one of the most consistent mid card acts every week. Gets some of the best reactions from the crowd. He basically has them in the palm of his hand for most of the time. The guitar gimmick works. I'm always a stickler. I'm a mark for guitar gimmicks. I guess I'll say that's why Jeff Jarrett was at least tolerable back in the day. And the guitar breaking from Seth Rollins, I don't know if I like it. Babyface is destroying property. Usually a WWE way to go with things, I guess. But and plus, as a musician, I just kind of cry when the guitar
John Mayer gave him the guitar after all.
Hey, John Mayer's an underrated guitar player.
He is a very underrated. No, but it was just funny. That was the story. Of all the guys you could have picked, it was John Mayer. And John Mayer is a very talented guitar player. I don't love his music, but guitar player, very good.
Right. There's a difference. Songwriting and actual guitar ability are very different. But yeah, I'm with you. I hope Elias gets this. I think he's earned it. He's got the character working, and he could work as a tweener, I think.
Yeah, I would agree. All right, Carmella versus Asuka. I hope Carmella got a lot of pictures of herself for her kids and her grandkids with the belt, because it's over. It's done. It's time to rebuild Asuka. And unfortunately, we're rebuilding her like the weakest way to rebuild Asuka is to have her beat the weakest person in the division. And it just kind of sucks. Like, I'm just kind of over it.
Carmella's better than Lana. Come on.
I don't know about that. I'll tell you what.
Really?
Lana, the last 2 weeks has looked better in the ring than Carmella has. I'm just putting it out there. And I flat out laughed at Lana in the ring. I thought she was good 2 weeks ago. I thought she was decent last week. And I feel like Carmella, when you watch her, she's just completely useless in the ring. I don't know.
All right, that's fair. I think they're the same
got a little bit of power, at least.
I guess that may be the dance background or something.
She's just stronger. Yeah. She's physically stronger than Carmella. Nothing Carmella does has any weight. So the problem is, ironically, I feel like Lana, as a dancer, she's sometimes not graceful in the ring. She's not smooth. But that's something you can iron out over time.
Trying to be too smooth even, yeah.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe she's trying too hard. All right, speaking of stuff that we have no idea.
I tried to tweet our buddy Dennis Farrell over on the Wrestling Perspective podcast and the Duckcast with a certain James Ellsworth. I'm like, all right, so is Ellsworth still in China, or is he actually be coming over to re-debut and help Carmella in this one?
I don't know. That would be nice. I'd be all for that. If that happens, that'd be great. That's the only way you could possibly imagine, like, him coming back to steal it. Yeah, but it's not happening. It's not.
I hope it doesn't for Asuka's sake, because Asuka.
You can't have Asuka lose to Carmella in any way, shape, or form. Period. You're going to kill her. You've already basically crushed her character anyway. Don't beat the dead horse. Okay.
Just rip the Band-Aid off and get the easy win.
Let her be champ, and then let her defend it against some tough opponents and try to build her back up. Nia Jax versus Ronda Rousey. I don't know.
Well, here's the better one to retain, at least.
Agreed. 100% the better one to retain, but I don't want her carrying the belt anymore either. They've tried this experiment here with both of them. They
too soon.
Post WrestleMania, Nia and actually, I think they actually missed the boat with Nia. I think Nia had a run there when she came back from her hissy fit, like right around that gauntlet match time where she was very good.
Yeah.
And she deserved an opportunity and they missed it. But I think the problem was she should have been the heel champ. She should have always been the heel champ.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't have the likability to get over as the face champ. And now I don't know what the hell she is. And Ronda, I mean, look, the only good thing is we're going to get to see Ronda have a real one-on-one match with somebody who is not a legend in the business and not a man.
Yeah. Another one where I think it'll be a solid match because she's working against a bigger opponent. Even though I'm not sure that like you said, I don't know if she can take advantage of it as readily as the, of course.
It'll be a better match than Asuka Carmella, I think.
Well, let's hope so. But I don't know. What made me laugh was during the commercial where you see Ronda Rousey and the Nia Jax's face goes from happy to evil. I'm like, oh, that just basically was as quick as her heel turn was after her face turn. Yeah. What a great metaphor for how terribly you've developed Nia's character.
I was thinking the same exact thing because I saw that and I said, that's awkward. Why would they do that? That's just the whole thing is just.
I think it'll be all right. I'm not gonna piss on this match immediately. So
I'm going to unzip and about to piss on it, but I'm going to reserve. I'm going to hold it. I'm going to wait to see before it actually happens. But look, the fly is down. The fly is down. All right, and
we're canceled.
There you go. Well, you can't cancel us. We're not getting any money for this anyway. We do this for love.
Hey, Welsh and Bogman just like, guys. No.
Yeah, well, Welsh and Bogman, that's what they do.
Go.
We're just there to make money for them. That's what we're here for.
Oh, yeah, of course.
All right.
Yeah, all the money. Make it
all the money. So much money.
Rainmaker Okada with that stuff. Absolutely.
All right, men's Money in the Bank. Strowman, Balor, Owens, Bobby Roode, Miz, Samoa Joe, Rusev, and let's just say Big E because, I mean, I think at this point we all know it's Big E. So justifications, Braun Strowman would be an obvious choice. They can't put a belt on him. Same thing with Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe not going to put a belt anytime soon enough. Him having the case and always looming whenever you need somebody to have a feud with somebody and take a belt off somebody in the short term. That wouldn't be terrible. There's no way Bobby Roode wins. Kevin Owens doesn't need any of it. Although if he won, it would be fine. The same kind of reason Samoa Joe needs it. Right. Or could go through it. Finn Balor. I love Finn, but I don't think he's going to have this. I can't see him carrying that case and doing that intro all the time he does.
It's very true.
You know, like you have to put the case into the audience. Right, every time it's like, oh, da-da-da-da, oh, and then there goes the case. Like you have to put it down every time, and it's just, I don't know. It's just no good.
And it's not heel. If heel Balor, if he would turn heel, I would hope he'd win. But
yeah, I don't think they have any interest in doing that.
Which is no.
Rusev is not going to win it either. I know some people want that to happen. That's not good. And Big E's not going to win it. So for me, it's The Miz. I think I understand Strowman. I understand Joe. I understand Kevin. Miz is the one to me. You give it to Miz, and you have him loom, and that's an opportunity for him and Seth Rollins to get back together because I think that's what I saw out of them in the last 6 months when they were working programs together was brilliant. That was main event. They stole the show. You could do that again and go into Royal Rumble with those guys or whatever you want to do.
I would be happy with 7 out of 8 of these guys winning. Like you said, Bobby Roode is not the one that I want to win. But,
I mean, I think you can't justify Big E having it. I think that would be just, you know.
It would be interesting. It would cause some tension, I think. And he would get an ego and he'd turn heel. So
maybe.
I don't know.
It's not terrible, but I don't
know.
But
I want Samoa Joe to get it. I think it's his turn to get elevated. Like you said, even if it's not going to be a title picture immediately, he just has to have that title of being the next guy. I mean, as long as they don't Baron Corbin hit it.
I think it's going to be Miz 1, Joe 2, Strowman 3. That's the way I would rank them in terms of possibility. Like if I was an odds maker, it would be Joe 2. It would be Miz 2-1, Samoa Joe 3-1, and Strowman at like a 4-1, 5-1 kind of thing. And the rest of them will all be double digits.
I would not argue that at all. I mean, the thing with Miz that bothers me is, you know, what's his schedule going to be like with his kid? Maybe this does give him a little time to just kind of hang out and not do anything and have the briefcase. He's won it once.
He's got a reality show coming too, Miz and Mrs. I mean,
that's true. That's good promo material.
That is good promo material.
I'm sticking with Joe though. Maybe just with my heart, but you know.
That's you, Tim Heaney, always thinking with your heart.
Always in my heart.
And that's how you ended up here with me. All right, women's Money in the Bank. You complete me, Tim. Sasha Banks, Alexa Bliss, Ember Moon, Natalya, Charlotte, Becky Lynch, Lana, Naomi. Oh, you got to take a breath. There's so many people in these matches.
3 people, I think, have the only chance at this one.
Okay, who are your 3 have a chance?
Well, one of Sasha, Charlotte, or Becky Lynch, I think.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree. It's too soon for Ember. Although I've heard people trying to make the Natalya thing, trying to push her with Ronda winning the belt and then her kind of looming and that being the deterioration of the relationship.
I don't want that with Natty. No.
I just think that's
have them be their own thing.
Is the order been announced officially? Like, is the women's after the men's or no?
I just put it there. I don't know.
Because I'm wondering how they order this. Because,
that's very important. Yeah.
Because if the men, I can tell you right now, if the women are if the women are after the men, it's going to be Charlotte, Sasha, or Becky. They're not going to put Natalya at that point if that's the last
4
match
horsewomen.
Of the night.
Yeah, one of them will win.
Yeah. And I'm going to be with you on that. I kind of agree. Alexa doesn't need it. Ember's too soon. Lana and Naomi is not really right now any kind of heat there. So, and then Natalya one I get. I just don't think it's. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be useful. I'd like to see Sasha have it. I think she would be a good person to carry that. I know originally I was on board with Becky, but as we get closer and closer, I think Sasha is starting to loom a little bit as this person because she really needs a title run more than a day, more than 24 hours.
Money in the Banks would be a good pitch there. So.
Yeah, Money in the Banks. Yeah, Miss Money in the Banks. I mean,
right.
Got it. Writes itself.
It writes
yet
itself.
They'd still find a way to screw it up somehow. All right. AJ Styles versus Nakamura. Last man standing match. I say Nakamura takes the belt off AJ. Nakamura's earned it. It's time. If you want to do a rematch in the next one, you can. But again, I say get out while the getting's good before you kill the program. It's been a very good program. It's gotten better every time. Every time they've worked, I feel like it's gotten better. And the lesson is it doesn't need to go a half hour, this match. This match should just be an all-out kind of ass-kicking brawl. Let it be what it is, and let Nakamura walk away with the title and have AJ move on to another feud with somebody else.
No, I want them to run it back at SummerSlam. That'll be his big rematch cash-in. Because I think the Brooklyn crowd will want to see that. I think it's a good time to end it.
Well,
and have it be the last thing. Nakamura. I tweeted, it's time. You give it to him. He's earned it.
I mean, I guess you could get another 2 months out of Nakamura being champ and AJ chasing, but I don't know.
The one match, SummerSlam's enough if you were to do that.
I think you have to add somebody else into that trio then.
No, well, if AJ wants his rematch at SummerSlam, that's his one locked-in rematch, and that'll be it.
Well, you know what you do? You don't have Nakamura fight him at the other one. You have AJ fight a number 1 contender match to face Nakamura
exactly.
at SummerSlam, and you have AJ go versus Joe. I think that's the way to go. Yeah,
I keep forgetting this is a July pay-per-view too. So.
Yeah, I know. We're like fast forwarding to because that's God, what's the July pay-per-view? It's
they just renewed the Great American Bash trademark. I hope it would be that, but I don't think it's that. I think it's something else.
No, it's already been named. It's
I don't know.
Oh,
I'm looking.
God.
I'm looking now. Hang on.
Who can Google something fast?
This is why you should never July
Extreme
pay-per-view.
Rules. Extreme.
Oh, great.
Extreme Rules.
Oh boy.
It's gonna be extreme. Like
I want a chair match. Chair match.
This Mountain Dew tastes extreme.
Oh my God.
All right. So that's what we think so far in our preview. So that means there's only one thing left to do, Tim. Do you know what it is? Do you know what happens when there's only one thing left to do in a show?
No, Joe, I don't know. Tell me.
You make a list!
You just made the list!
All right. Top 5 things Tim and I want to see happen on Sunday. Tim, take it away.
Okay, I almost threw this at number 1 because I feel so passionately about it. I want WWE to just make Bobby Lashley the next Poochie. I don't know if any of you are Simpsons fans out there, but Poochie was written into the Itchy and Scratchy show to be cooler and to update the show and be hip.
It's our new friend, Poochie. What's that name again? I forgot.
The name's Poochie D, and I rock the telly. I'm half Joe Camel and a third Fonzarelli. I'm the Kung Fu hippie from Gangster City. I'm a rapping surfer, you the fool I pity.
Oh.
And it was terrible. So after fan backlash, they basically had Poochie go back to his home planet I have to go home. My planet needs me. And then it said on the screen in one of the funniest moments in maybe television history. In my
Wasn't
opinion.
he like a rapping dog?
He was a rapping dog with a skateboard because he was
Right.
chill.
I'm cool. I'm Poochie.
There you go. And the one of the funniest moments maybe in television history, Poochie died on the way back to his own planet. And just send Bobby Lashley away. Just send him back. Maybe he can go to Impact again and be good because they know how to treat him. You guys don't know how to treat him. And
I don't think it's a matter of they don't know how to treat him. That's the problem. There's nothing left to treat. He has no connectivity. He has no charisma. And it just goes to prove, if I had the body of Bobby Lashley, I would be champion of the world. Because I can connect with the audience. I know what everybody wants. I can make you feel about the match. The problem is I'm 5'7", and it's never going to work. It's just never going to happen. But this is the problem. And this is the shame of the waste sometimes. And Bobby Lashley, looking the way he does, can work in the TNA, he can work it in Impact, he can work it, in different indie promotions, and he doesn't need to do that. But when you're on TV, in the realm of, look, let's not forget, this is sports entertainment at WWE level. It's equal parts TV importance as it is wrestling importance. And he just fails miserably at the TV part of it. I'm sorry.
No, you're right. You're right. And combining with a writing staff that doesn't know what to do with people that don't help them with things.
No.
Not a good combo.
No, it's bad.
Yeah.
Number 4,
Samoa Joe wins men's Money in the Bank. As I had stated before, don't need to go deeply into that one. Number 3, as much as Sasha Banks, like you said, really makes a lot of sense. She's probably my number 2 to win it because, her and Charlotte have already done so much historic stuff and all that. And that's the reason I want Becky Lynch to be the women's Money in the Bank, because she hasn't had her real defining moments aside from winning a SmackDown Championship and losing it to Alexa Bliss, which deserve it because Alexa did deserve the push at the time. But I think Becky needs her accolade, and I want this to be it. I want this to be Becky Lynch's big moment in history. And after she came close to Carmella last year and, the James Ellsworth crap happened, in the awkward way, I want Becky to have her actual moment this time. Because she's earned it. I think she's kind of gotten lost in the shuffle with the 4 horsewomen. Number 2, Asuka wins the title. Number 1, Shinsuke Nakamura wins the title. I've harped on these way too much already, so I'll just leave it at that.
All right, my number 5 thing that I want to see result-wise, or things I want to see happen at Money in the Bank, I want to see Ronda Rousey have a good match versus a woman singles match. Because this is important. Anybody can look great in a match that's heavily worked for a long time with Kurt Angle and Triple H. 2
of the greatest ever.
Right. So that is a great situation, and they made her successful, and she was good, and I begrudgingly gave her all the credit. It was a great match. It really was. And it wasn't just because my expectations were low. It was actually very good. But now the rubber hits the road, and I think it's unfair that the first time she's going to have a singles match, it's got a belt at stake. I think this is the dumbest thing you could possibly do. I don't like it. I don't understand it. I think it's a terrible way to go. But alas, they're doing it anyway. So Ronda, win or lose, has to look good in this match as a singles competitor. And let's see if she can. Number 4, I want Seth to drop the belt. It's time. Move on. Move up. It's time to get Seth Rollins to the top. He's on the cover of the video game for a reason, because he is burning it down, and he should absolutely be the guy at the top of the card for the next 2 months, working a program to get him at that level for SummerSlam. And I don't even care if it's a match between him and – I'll tell you what. You want to get some heat on Extreme Rules for the July pay-per-view? Get him in this situation where him and Roman go at it for a match.
Number 1 contender, yeah.
Number 1 contender match. And
that would be hellishly good.
That would be hellishly good. And again, you want to rebuild Roman? Let him have a great match against Seth Rollins, because Seth can take him to a great match and have him get a little bit of
their sleep.
They could wrestle a match in their sleep, and that would be something where the fans would be booing him and get heat on Roman again and all that stuff. It's the way to go. Number 3, I want to see Miz win because I've got this grand plan in my head where Miz and Seth are going to be working at the top of the card again. Number 2, Asuka winning the title. Number 1, Nakamura winning the title. Basically, we are in lockstep, Tim and I. It's going to be an all Asian belt kind of situation when we leave Money in the Bank. It's going to be all Japan all the time for the SmackDown championships. And wouldn't that be some cool history too when you think about it?
New Japan WWE, baby.
2 Japanese wrestlers, a man and a woman, holding belts at the same time in WWE on a show. That is evolution.
They won the Royal Rumble the same night too. So
that is, and it's time now to have everybody cash in that sense. No pun intended. All right, we are going to be back again on Monday. as I said, with a special Money in the Bank show. We're going to try to get our buddy Jake Seeley. Hopefully he's going to be joining us. And if not, Tim and I will still be here anyway to give our thoughts on what we saw. We're going to bang that out. It's kind of like one of those mini shows that we do. So check that out. Check for it. Make sure you're subscribing to us. You can subscribe on YouTube to us now too. On the YouTube channel, we're on there. You can subscribe on iTunes to In This Ring. You can also subscribe on SoundCloud as well. So make sure you're subscribing so you know when the new shows come out, because they're going to be more frequent. Also, we're going to do a show with my kids this summer when they're off from school, which is going to be hilarious, Tim. Tim and I are going to interview the kids about stuff, and we're going to put them on the headphones, and they've got all kinds of thoughts. You should have heard my 6-year-old's thoughts about Baron Corbin shaving his head. She was not happy. She's a big Baron Corbin fan. I've been telling her he's gonna cut his hair at one point because he loses his hair. No. And her words, and this is why we got to get my kids on the show. Her words after Baron Corbin shaved his head, "I think I'm gonna throw up." That's what she said.
Well, I mean, he looks more like her dad now, so maybe that's why.
No, thanks, Heaney. Constable Corbin was not.
Constable Corbin.
Oh, they're gonna love.
I'm waiting for that all day.
Yeah. Also, tweet of the week before we get out of here: Michael Stepney 71. Michael is our super fan.
Yep.
Without guys like Michael, without Adam, without Marty, this is no show here. However, we're seeing a little bit of love on Twitter recently of people popping us and saying, "Hey, if you like wrestling, you got to check this out." So we appreciate that. So if you listen to the show and you find us on Twitter and that's how you're getting the information, retweet the show, man. Retweet the show. Tell everybody you like it, and that helps us and that helps everybody. But Michael says, "In This Ring, I'd rather watch Dennis Rodman interview in CNN than another lame-ass Zayn Lashley segment. #Raw." Michael,
bravo.
You got the standing ovation from Tim. And we're going to get Michael and some of the super fans on the show this summer, too. That's going to be one of our missions throughout the rest of the year.
Got to buy time before SummerSlam.
Yeah, man, because, look, we could – it's fun to have – we've had Brian Pillman Jr. on. We've had, Adam Rank on. We've had some of our people in the industry on the show. And I think the next thing is we're going to have Nathan Bush, who's a friend of mine who's a big wrestling guy who works some of the more indie promotion stuff. He's got some stuff. So Nate's going to be on the show with us. And we're going to have some of the fans on the show, too, to talk wrestling because you listen to the show. Why not be a part of the show? And I think that's something nobody else is doing. That's something certainly none of the big boys are doing because they're big and they're so important and all that stuff. Not us. We're not important. We're the People Show. Damn it. All right.
Hey, the People Show's important, though.
That's
we
what
need
we
a
are.
People Show.
We do need a People Show, and that is us. So you can follow us again at In This Ring, at Joe Pizzapia 17, at Tim_Heaney, and tweet us your ideas for top 5. Tweet us your thoughts. We'll be live tweeting during Money in the Bank for sure. I know Tim will be. I will be as well. I'll be home from class. I'll probably miss the first 3 hours of the show because it starts at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So eventually I'll catch up. But no, I will be around. I'll be a little bit later. I don't get home till about 7:30, 8 o'clock-ish. So I'll be right in when the pay-per-view should normally start anyway.
Rational people starting pay-per-view.
Right, and check out the mini recap show on Monday. That'll do it for us. And remember, kids, to be the men, you gotta beat the men, and we are the men.
Woo!